So this is another activity that can be a fun warm-up. It can be fun if your students kind of finish early, or just a way to help students get to know each other. It's a version of the Exquisite Corpse, and there's a lot of different ways people do them. So I'm going to tell you two ways that I really like to do it. So one, I just have, I cut regular paper in half so that we have strips, and then teach students to make an accordion. The easiest way that I get students to fold an accordion is to have them fold the paper in half and then fold the paper in half again. Now I realize that is not an accordion yet. Then all they have to do is take this last page and flip it, and they check if they've done it correctly by seeing if they've created the letter M or the letter W. That is the easiest way that they figure out how to fold it and build it. So I normally take 2 of these, and then we do a little glue and stick them together just to make it a little bit longer. The next thing that I have students do, just to kind of help with confusion, is go ahead and number the pages. So we start on the first page, flip over, this back becomes 2, 3, 4, and so forth until they've gone the whole way. And we often also use the back. So I don't know what page this would be. I think this would be page 7. Then they would continue to flip and number onto the back to page 8 to page 9, and continue going that way so that we can use both sides of the paper. That helps keep them a little bit more in line and flowing. So a couple different ways that then we actually use this. So I normally split students into groups. Each student is still sending one of their books around so that everyone's continually working on something, because I don't like everybody just sitting there and waiting. So the first student, for one of the ways that we do it, they go ahead and draw. Sometimes it's totally open-ended and they can draw whatever they want on the front, or sometimes I will give them a theme and that's what they'll draw for the first page. Then they go and pass the book to the next person. The next person looks just at page number 1. They're looking at that image. They flip to page 2 and they write a couple sentences about the image. So they're working on writing a story, not necessarily just describing what they see, but actually writing a story about what they see. Then they pass this to student number 3. Student number 3 only looks at page number 2. So they're going to go ahead and read the story that was written, and they're going to do a drawing in response to that story. And then students continue to go back and forth between having an image, writing a story, having an image, writing a story. So all students end up getting practice doing both things, and at the end they normally have kind of a funny story of images and writing for them to read, but it's a good and easy way for them to practice writing. You can do the same idea and you can do the whole thing with drawings. So have one person draw something on the front and then turn the page, and the next person do a drawing in response to that, and continue going. Those are my 2 favorite versions. I know the real original Exquisite Corpse, you're folding that when you would kind of bring this out, it becomes this one tall drawing, which can be fun, but I find that students have a lot of trouble with keeping that folded correctly and passing around, and this creates a fun story for them to do. Even if you do all images and wanted to bring some writing into it later, after all of the drawings are in it, then the student could get their book back that's full of drawings and try and write text or captions that go along with those drawings. They love doing this. They think they're fun, they're funny, and they love sharing them. The other thing about this method is it's also okay if you don't get it all finished in one class period. Now they're going to be excited to get it finished, but it doesn't necessarily mean they have to. You can kind of mark what page you stopped at and what person you stopped at and continue working on it later. But it's a really fun way for students to create little books. And then we normally either take these, if they've done it on both sides, all of their sketchbooks have envelopes that we've made, so they'll go ahead and tuck these into their sketchbooks as just another fun element of their sketchbook. If they haven't used both the front and the back, then sometimes they'll take this little page and go ahead and glue that so it becomes a foldable that pops out of their sketchbook which is also really fun. So it's another way for them to continue building on their sketchbook.